Hey guys, so today is a very special episode of the podcast because it is also a live stream, which is super, super, super exciting and just a little bit nerve-wracking, if I'm totally honest. I have a really super juicy and big topic to talk to you about today. And so you're going to have to be a little bit patient and bear with me because I do have to, I have notes. So I'm definitely going to be reading a little bit today to make sure that I cover all the juicy things that I want to say. So if you're listening on YouTube, but you prefer to listen to it on the podcast, you can find that on iTunes, Google, Stitcher, Podbean, Anchor, my website, www.candacelacia.com/podcast. And if you're listening on the podcast, you can also find this on YouTube if you're interested. So today is all about mindset. Mindset is my jam. This is like my favorite topic to talk about. It's like basically what I focus on in my entire life. And yeah, I'm just super excited to chat with you guys about it today. So I'm basically going to be breaking down what mindset is and how it affects our lives and like how you can kind of work on your mindset to become happier, more balanced, and to like really, make it so your mindset serves you in like really difficult moments. So let's start off by talking about what is mindset. So mindset is the thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that you hold true about your life and which ultimately affect the actions that you do or don't take. Okay. So mindset is typically influenced by your state of being, meaning what you're feeling in any given moment. Now, there's a really important distinction to make here between feelings and emotions. Usually, in like the English language, you can use them interchangeably. It's actually really important here that we don't use them interchangeably. So when I say feelings, I am talking about something that pops up. So you feel something and you don't necessarily, like oftentimes we do know where it comes from, but maybe sometimes you don't. Like you might just be feeling a certain way. Emotions are the things that we have control over in this particular example. Okay. So I want to make that distinction really clear. I think it's really important that we understand that they're not the same in this case. So where I kind of want to start with this discussion is talking about like, okay, you find yourself in a positive experience and you're manifesting things and you feel love and support and you're loving and supporting other people and you're tolerating, that person that you can't stand. But like when you're happy and you're feeling good, anything is possible. And that's because when we are feeling good, our mindset is positive and solution oriented. So we look for the good instead of we look for the good and we find it. Let's stop it there. Instead, I'm sure we've all had these like Debbie Downer moments where we're like driving in our car and there's traffic and then we like show up to work and we're late and like this classic scenario, like you've got to run in your pantyhose and you spill coffee on yourself and your partner says something stupid and you're mad at him and whatever else. And it's almost like this like snowball of crap energy and you end up feeling like really bad. And usually this kind of negative attitude or negative mindset stems from when we're feeling sleepy, sad, down, angry, frustrated, whatever it might be. But we find ourselves in a position where a negative attitude or a negative mindset begets negative circumstances. So we kind of perpetuate. And these are two different examples, but they're really important because we've kind of stepped just slightly out of mindset work. And we're talking a little bit about law of attraction, where negative mindset brings negative results. Positive mindset brings positive results. So it's really important to note though, and I know that it's probably not easy to hear this, but you are fully in control of this. So when you're having a crap day or when you're having a great day, both of those are decisions that we've made. And our mindset really has the biggest impact on the way that we live our day-to-day lives. So if you have a positive mindset and if you learn to build a positive mindset, you will inevitably experience more positivity in your day-to-day life. That's just the way it is. It sounds really simple, and in theory it is, and in practice it's not necessarily, but it is something that you can work on. It is something that you can build over time. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So mindset, in my opinion, at least, is the foundation of our lives. So what we feel, remember what pops up, okay, our state of being, okay, influences the thoughts that we think, okay? And the thoughts that we think and the words that we choose, super important, the words that we choose that create the thoughts that we think, influence the emotions that we feel, and that influences the beliefs that we hold about what's true about ourselves and the world around us and our lives, and which ultimately influences the actions that we do or don't take. So your mindset, good or bad, okay, doesn't matter, is creating the reality, good or bad, that you see in front of you. So it can be hard to accept that we are that powerful and that we are that in control of our lives. But the sooner that we realize it, the better that our entire existence will be. So you literally have the most control over your life. And it's funny because in the spiritual realm, we talk a lot about how, you know, we have to co-create with the universe and to surrender control to the universe. And that's absolutely true. And that's exactly what we should be doing. But we also have to recognize where we do have control. And this is it. This is the area where we have control. We are in control of the thoughts that we think. We are in control of how that then subsequently affects every other aspect of our lives. The one thing that I want to be mindful of is I don't want to encourage you to like beat yourself up for the emotions that pop up. For the feelings. Oh, I just caught myself in my own little error there. For the feelings that come up. So whatever you're feeling is fine. It's great. It's good. Even if the emotion is bad, it's there. Sorry, if the emotion is bad, it's not bad. If the emotion is negative, it is there to teach you something. And that something is super, super, super important. Okay. So I want you to feel as safe as you possibly can in creating a life and feeling what you feel, both. Because whatever you're feeling, whether it's positive or negative, the best thing that you can do is not judge yourself, but just allow yourself to feel that emotion and then move from that space of acceptance to changing it. So we all have days where we wake up and we feel something, maybe we feel down, maybe we feel sad. It's okay to be in that space and then to recognize that later you want to change it. But first you do have to like kind of sit in that. We're not trying to talk about Pollyanna bullshit here. We're not trying to like make it so you don't feel what you're feeling or you pretend that everything's sunshine and rainbows if something sucks, because it's life and shit happens. And we are here to feel the full spectrum of human emotion and to allow ourselves to be whoever we are in that moment. And then to work on, you know, maybe making things more positive or making positive changes. Okay. So it can be, like I said, hard to realize that we're in control, but it's really important that we take that control and we take our power back and we start creating in a really intentional way. So your mindset is at play in every single area of your life. No part of your life, no matter what you think, is immune to your mindset. Not a one. And for better or for worse, it's, you know, for better or for worse, for easy or hard, it is your responsibility, your divine responsibility as a functioning member of society to get that shit under your control. So when you control your mindset, you can control your world. What do I mean by this? I don't mean that you're going to have some super freaky, you know, superpowers that allow you to control other people. No, I mean that you'll be in control of the only thing that you are ever in control of, and that is yourself. Because going back to what I said earlier, mindset is controlling or choosing or intentionally creating the words that you know, choosing the words to intentionally create the thoughts that you think, which affect the emotions that you feel, which affect the beliefs that you hold about your life, which influence the actions that you do or don't take. Okay. When your mindset is on point, you are in control of your own reality, period. You can literally write whatever story you want to write about your world. And it's that simple and that challenging, because I don't want to make it seem like it's easy. I have been in the personal development world for a very, very long time. And I think it's only within the last like 3 years that I've really seen changes. And I got into this in 2008. So I've been living in this world for over 11 years now. And it was really challenging at the beginning, because there's a certain amount of kind of watching your thoughts, and in order to create a better mindset. And that can be really frustrating, especially when we haven't fully stepped into that place of acceptance of how we feel, and accepting responsibility that we are in control of it and that we have the power to change it. That can be really challenging. And it's okay to give yourself time, and it's okay to cut yourself slack in order to do that in a really positive way, and in a mindful way, and in a way that feels really fucking good in the moment. Okay. Yeah, that's the best thing I can say to you. Love yourself throughout the whole journey. So I want to give you an example of my own crappy mindset and how I changed that and how it affected my life. So I love this story because it's embarrassing, and because it showcases a really powerful change that I made. So I live in Lucca in Italy, and I've been living here for 4 years. And when I first moved here, I had a really pervasive story about how difficult it was to make friends. So Lucca is a peculiar city, beautiful as all get out. But if you talk to people, they will literally describe themselves as the ancient wall that surrounds the city. So they will kind of say, all the people here kind of have this kind of wall around them. And that's how they live their lives. And it's a little bit of a cliquey city, more so than other cities that I've lived in Italy. But I allowed this definition that I was given by people from the city, and that I had kind of created and accepted myself, to literally define my reality. So people were telling me it was hard to make friends. My experience was that it was hard to make friends. And so my reality ended up being that it was hard to make friends. And it was really difficult to get out of this. And in saying this, I also manifested a lot of problems in the relationships that I did have, because the story that I was telling myself was how everybody is closed off and no one really wants to make friends, and it's really challenging to make friends. And I just perpetuated this really bad cycle that I didn't even want to be in the first place. So I created my own reality. Okay, let's leave it there. And it was well over a year, I think maybe even a year and a half, of me living here and kind of telling myself this crap story, when I finally realized that I was telling myself this story. Like, it's so stupid, because I wasn't even aware of it at the beginning. And that's kind of where I was saying to you guys, like, I've been living in this world for 10 years, but it's only like really recently that the chips have all kind of started to fall into place. And part of that is for the decisions that I made. And part of it is just because, it takes time to like really incorporate these tools, and to kind of reinforce new habits when you've been living a certain way for a really long time. But I remember exactly where I was. I was at a coffee shop, and I was talking to myself, not out loud, but I was having like a little chat with myself. And I realized, like, I had been telling myself this really, really ridiculous and pervasive story about how hard it was to make friends. And I was creating my own reality, and it was reflecting this crap story. And it wasn't just hard. Meeting new friends was actually impossible, because I decided that it was so. And so that day, I literally decided, and I know that that sounds really simplistic, but I did. I decided that I was no longer going to tell myself this story, and that this was no longer true for me. And I was going to have a new positive attitude about everything. And the minute that I made that decision, everything changed for me. Literally 2 days later, I started meeting a bunch of people, and I started going out more. And I mean, I know that sounds exaggerated, and I know that it sounds like, oh, that's magic, or it only happens for her, or whatever it might be. But no, literally 2 days later, I met a girl that I'm still friends with now, and we hang out all the time. And another couple months after that, I met even more people, and I started joining these other groups, and I started going out more, and I started really like engaging with the community and kind of fostering this sense of community myself. And I also put myself in situations to meet people who were maybe a little bit more transient. So I wasn't necessarily meeting people who were like going to be in Luca forever, but I was meeting people from all over the world. I actually started hosting people in what is now my office. This is actually our spare bedroom in our house. So, but yeah, I just really, I put myself in the way of finding new connections, of finding new people. And I managed to do this because one day I decided that the story that I was telling myself, the mindset that I had around making friends, which was extremely harmful and extremely negative, was no longer serving me and would no longer be a part of my reality. I literally just decided. And something that's really important to understand with this is that our words have power. Okay, do not underestimate the fact that your words, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, and your actions are influencing your reality right now. They are. I mean, there's really nothing else for me to say. And I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier. It can be really annoying to hear this because a lot of us, especially when we're starting out on our personal development journey, are stuck in victim mode. So we want to believe that it's them. It's our boss, it's our partner, it's our friends, it's the city that we live in, it's the circumstances that we find ourselves in. But the reality is that you've chosen every single one of these. You chose it either literally by making a choice to work where you work, or to live where you live, or to do the things that you do, or to spend time with the people that you spend time with. Or you've chosen it by the way that you speak about your reality. So the way that you talk about, the things that you see around you, or the way that you think about the things that you see around you, or the actions that you take, and the way that the situation that you find yourself in makes you feel. But you really are in control, and you really did choose and create this. And I'm not going to say it lightly. I'm going to just put it out there. When I first started my personal development journey, I fucking hated this. I did not want to hear any amount of bullshit about how I created my reality because I wasn't ready to accept the fact that I did. I was living like a little bit too much in victim mode. And if you would have asked me then, I would have said no. I would have said that I was not a victim and I was totally accepting responsibility for my actions, and I was totally accepting responsibility for, the situations that I found myself in. And I think to an extent I was, but I was not under any circumstances accepting responsibility for the words that I was choosing and the and the thoughts that I was thinking. I wasn't. I felt way more comfortable blaming my boyfriend at the time. This is in 2008. I was at SFU, and I was having some problems there with the guy that I was seeing at the time, and then with the friends that I had. But I felt way more comfortable blaming all of them and blaming the weather in Vancouver for the fact that I was depressed, and blaming this, that, or the other thing. I mean, literally anything other than the fact that I chose to be in that situation, that I chose the thoughts that I was thinking, and I chose the words that I was using to create those thoughts. It can be a really tough pill to swallow, and I can totally respect that. But I'm really here as a wake-up call for you that if you want to live the life that you say you want to live, you need to get your shit together, and you need to start with your mindset, period. Okay. It starts by thinking about paying attention to the thoughts that you're thinking. And it can feel a little bit like you're policing yourself 24/7. So it can be a little bit rocky at the beginning. We can find ourselves feeling like, oh, I said that, like, fuck, I need to stop saying that, or shit, I can't say that anymore. Or like, you're so stupid for saying that, and you know better. Why are you doing that? Like, it can be a little bit negative when we're first starting out. And I definitely experienced that myself. I would really love to encourage you, though, to approach this process with as much kindness as you can muster. You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to do the best that you possibly can. You need to love yourself to the best of your ability while you're going through this process. It can be really frustrating and really hard, feeling like your mind is working against you, but you have neural pathways in your brain that you have fostered for as long as you've been alive. And if you're trying to change that now, that's amazing. And like, I am so proud of you, and I'm so here to support you. And like, whether or not our paths cross, I am cheering you on your path. But it can be really frustrating to think a different way than you've been thinking for the entirety of your life. give yourself a break. Okay. It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be worth it when you come out on the other side and your life looks exactly how you wanted it to look because you got your shit together and you like took control of your mindset. So it does get better and easier over time. And, you know, it never gets perfect. And there's never a moment when you're not working on your mindset. And I would consider myself an expert in mindset. I'm a mindset coach, and I still work on my mindset every single day. I take action every single day to help me positively influence my mindset because I know that that's the number one thing that I need to do to live the life that I want to live. So I'm sorry if you were looking for a quick fix solution, but there isn't one. I wish I could lie and tell you otherwise, but mindset work and personal growth isn't one and done. I say it all the time. It isn't. This is the journey of a lifetime. And we are so fucking lucky to be, alive and to be able to be on this journey. So let's take advantage of that. So now some tips. This is my favorite part of the podcast. I love giving you guys like tips and tricks to make your life better. And here we go. So number one, you have to recognize what feelings, states, thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions are currently limiting you and holding you back. You have them. Trust me, we all have them. The best thing that you can do here is write them down. So whenever you catch a limiting belief, whatever it might be, write it down, okay? Or if you hear a negative thought, write it down. Our words are usually our limiting beliefs. And if they aren't exactly the limiting belief, they are a gateway to them, okay? So this is what I said about recognizing. So you have to first begin to recognize the thoughts that you're currently thinking in order to change them in the future, okay? You need to then, step two, take stock of the thoughts that you have about yourself. So look at your habits here. It sounds really similar to step one, but it's a little bit different because I want you to acknowledge where you're not speaking kindly to yourself. I want you to acknowledge where you don't necessarily think highly of yourself, maybe the area, maybe the topic, the specific topic where you don't think highly of yourself. I want you to ask yourself if you feel capable of achieving your goals and really like sink into the way that you think about yourself and the words that you use to describe yourself. Do you feel positively about yourself? And do you feel like you're capable of affecting positive change in your life? That is step two. Step three is after you've kind of recognized and analyzed a few of your limiting beliefs, I would really encourage you to dig deeper. Almost always when we start off talking about limiting beliefs, we start at a surface level and the root of the problem is much lower. So you might say to me like, I don't feel capable of achieving my dreams. And I would encourage you to ask yourself why, and keep doing that and keep digging and digging and digging until you get to like whatever the core issue is. And you might find that as you go through like your thoughts and you start asking yourself this question to kind of dig deeper, you might find that the root of a lot of your limiting beliefs is actually one. There might be one root for multiple thoughts that you're thinking. This is honestly what I usually see with clients when I'm working with them one-on-one, is that they come to me with like X number of problems or X number of concerns or X number of goals. And when we talk about why they can't or haven't achieved them, when we boil it down, it usually comes down to one thing, and we can then work on that, on the root, right? Because if you deal with things at a superficial level, you're going to get superficial results. If you're willing to kind of like put your, like galoshes on and like really start digging through your own shit, then you will actually find the golden nugget, which is the problem. And the problem also within it holds a solution. So if we don't start there, it's really hard to move forward. The next step is to reframe whatever limiting belief you have about yourself. So this works both on a superficial and on a deeper level. Obviously, on a superficial level, it's a little bit easier. And then on a deeper level, the change happens a little bit slower and over time. So you've discovered a limiting belief that you have about yourself, whatever it might be. Let's take my example. My limiting belief was, it's hard for me to make friends. So here I want you to reframe what you're thinking. So I want you to take the negative thought and turn it into a positive one. This one for me is really easy. It's super easy to transform it it's hard for me to make friends. It's easy for me to make friends. I know that sounds really banal and kind of simplistic, but this is where you start. This is the start of mindset work. Okay. And so then instead of thinking this thought, I would try to think the more positive thought. How do I do that? Well, anytime this thought of it's hard for me to make friends pops up, I would switch it. No, hang on. It's easy for me to make friends. I make friends all the time. I have a history of making friends. People love me and I can go on. Do you see how I kind of built a really positive story off of that root negative story? That's kind of what I want to encourage you to do. And when I say like you have to reframe your thought, I mean every time you think it. I know that's really hard. And at the beginning, it's not going to be every time. Maybe it's going to be once per day. And then after a couple of months or a couple of weeks, it's going to be twice a day. And then after a year, it's going to be 5 times per day. Even still, I find myself thinking negative thoughts. It's not about not thinking them. It's not about not feeling negative emotions. It's not about not being in negative states. It's about being there, recognizing it, acknowledging it, accepting it, and then reframing it quickly and moving on. Mindset work is about being in a positive state as often as you possibly can, and then moving quickly from a negative state to a positive state when you find yourself in one. Okay. The turnaround time for me has lessened significantly. Where before I would have been mad at a negative situation, or like if something kind of bad happens in my life, I would be pissed off for maybe days. Now it's like hours or minutes in some cases. Like literally somebody pisses me off, I have a series of tools available to me, at my disposal that I can use. And I can turn my state around in like a couple minutes, half an hour, a couple hours, a day. Whereas before it could have been much longer. Okay. So yeah, you want to really think about what you're saying, pay attention to it, catch it, reframe it, say the new story, and really do so with loving kindness, which is what I've been saying to you throughout this whole kind of mini course here. Really, really, really focus on loving yourself through the entire process, speaking kindly to yourself when you do catch yourself in a negative state, feeling a negative emotion, or thinking a negative thought, okay? And the last step involves the continued use of this positive thought. How? Affirmations, my friends. Affirmations. So this is not about being Pollyanna. Super, super, super important that you recognize that. This is not about fake it till you make it, although there is a certain amount of that and you can use that as a tool to move forward. This is about maintenance. I saw the negative thought. I recognized it. I analyzed it. I asked myself if I believe it's possible for me to change it. I reworded it in a positive way, and now I'm going to continuously think that thought. And I can either do that in 2 ways. I can wait till the negative thought pops up and reframe it, or I can use the positive thought as an affirmation at my choosing. So like, for me, I have all of my affirmations on my phone and I have them set to pop up at different times per day. So whatever it is that I'm working on, I have it show up on my phone so that every day I am focusing on what I want to achieve. I am choosing to be in a positive mindset, and seeing these positive phrases throughout the day helps me be really present with what I want to change. And it really helps me make accelerated change. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. I really hope this served you. Really quickly, I'll recap everything. So recognize your feeling states, thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions, and how they're currently creating your reality. I want you to take stock of your thoughts. This is step 2. Ask yourself, do I speak kindly to myself? Do I think highly of myself? Do I feel capable of achieving my goals? Do I feel capable of making changes? Step 3, good Lord, like step 3 is to dig a little bit deeper into your limiting thoughts. Ask yourself why. So whatever belief or limiting thought that you've recognized in step 1 and 2, I want you to ask yourself, why do I feel this way? And then continue to dig deeper until you get to the root of the problem. Remembering that dealing with a problem on a superficial level is going to get you superficial results. Results nonetheless, you're still going to be making positive change, but it might not have the long lasting or really deep effect that you're hoping for otherwise. Okay. So really try to get to the root of the problem. And then step 4 is to reframe that problem. So whatever issue, whatever the limiting belief is, whatever the ultimate limiting thought is, to reframe it in a positive way. So this could be anything. So if you don't know where to start with this, or if you get to the root of a problem and whatever you find there is maybe a little bit too comfortable, I would encourage you to start with the affirmations that Louise Hay, literally the fairy godmother of personal development. She always encourages people to start with, I love and accept myself, and I approve of myself. And she says that you should say this a minimum of 400 times per day. And to be honest with you, from what I've seen in my own practice and my own personal experience with affirmations and reframing limiting beliefs, she's absolutely right. 400 times per day might not even be enough. And that's why I kind of say to choose affirmations and then put them in your line of sight. That's why I keep them on my phone, so that every day I'm repeating these things to myself, and I'm, consciously creating a positive environment in which I can flourish and I can grow. So yeah, reframe the limiting belief. And then step 5 is to use it as an affirmation. So if you don't know where to start, what I was saying is, I love and accept myself. I approve of myself. I am worthy of my desires. Like, those are all really solid places to start, because they really do get to the root of self-love and really accepting who you are in this moment in order to create a positive foundation moving forward. So yeah, that's it. I really hope that you loved this. I really hope that it served you. I really hope that this video has such a fucking positive effect on your life. I think you can see, like, I get kind of like, I'm almost buzzing because talking about this is so flippin' exciting. Like, this is my jam. I freaking love this. And it's like pretty much every conversation I have with people ever, I feel like I probably annoy my friends and family, but I don't really care, because I am happy as fuck and I love my life, and I really make an effort to create the reality that I want to see around me. And I really, 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 really want that for you, okay? However you want to create that, if that's by reading books or following positive people online or engaging with positive material in whatever way you can, watching, positive TV shows, positive movies, avoiding negative stuff. And then also, working with a coach. That is how I got into coaching in the first place. Was I actually chose to work with a coach, and it had a massive effect on my life. And if that's something that you feel called to do, then know that I'm here for you. I'm actually running a program starting next week. So it starts after the 14th of September, and it's called September is the New January, and it's a one-on-one coaching intensive. We meet once per week for an hour, and it's all about finishing 2019 strong and achieving all that you set out to achieve. And the reason why this program is so close to my heart, I thought about it last year and I didn't really have a chance to launch it. I wasn't really in a space where I was feeling super confident. My mindset was a little bit, more limiting, and it was kind of lack. I didn't feel good enough about myself to launch this. And this year was the year, because I finally got my shit together and got my mindset in order enough to launch and share this beautiful program with all of you. So it's all about achieving the goals that you set out to achieve in January of 2019, before 2020. We talk so much about mindset, because you can't even begin to have a conversation around setting and achieving goals without working on the way that you think, period. It's not possible. So it's all about mindset and teaching you like tools and techniques and strategies for reframing limiting beliefs and, tapping into your higher self and connecting with yourself, and really making it so when our series is over, you can go out into the world and achieve all that you set out to achieve. So making sure that 2020 is a massive success, and giving you the tools to actually set intentions and set goals and achieve them. So yeah, if you're interested, I would love to work with you, and you can find out more about this program on my website at www.candicealacia.com/September. I've had like a lot of brain farts today, and I'm not really sure why, but it's probably just because I'm like so excited and vibing. But yeah, if you'd like to work with me, I would love to. If this program doesn't sound right, or if you're not able to start in the next couple weeks, that's totally fine. You can head to my website and you'll see all of the different coaching packages that I have available. I offer one-off sessions. I offer 1-month intensives or 3-month programs. And I also have bespoke packages, meaning you come to me and we discuss what level of support serves you best. So we can really create whatever package works best for you. I'm happy to collaborate and co-create that way, because coaching is ultimately all about you and whatever it is that you want to achieve, and getting you from where you are now to where you envision yourself being. All right. So yeah, I hope that this serves you. Love you guys so fucking much. And yeah, I can't wait to see you next week on the podcast. And I hope you enjoy this. Have a really good day. Bye.